Senator Bamakino, Undersecretary Aaron Cristobal, Ms. Eriko Ishikawa, colleagues and friends, pleasant afternoon to everyone. When the APEC Business Advisory Council, I'm sure you all know, is the private sector voice to leaders established by the economic leaders. In 1996, actually, when the Philippines hosted APEC at that time. So we are made up of 3 business leaders from each economy. So 63 of us meet 3 times a year in different host countries, economies, and then we meet on the 4th meeting at the host AELM host location. So starting tomorrow, all the APEC members start to arrive, and we have prepared a recommendation, a whole book like this, 180 pages, 84 pages, I think, recommendation to leaders, and which we hope reflects really the voice of business around the region in achieving the goals of the APEC. When we at the APEC Philippines were made chair because of our hosting, we sat down and thought, now what should we do to make an impact to the APEC system? We sat and really talked about what that theme should be, and we decided to focus on accomplishing an agenda on inclusive growth. We were therefore we were very thrilled that our government also ended up with this focus on inclusive growth, which made all our recommendations pretty much aligned this year. And we feel that it is a theme that resonates well in a region where small and medium enterprises account for 97% of business. When economic leaders met in Blake Island 22 years ago, the vision was to achieve stability, security, and prosperity for the region. While we have seen tremendous positive impact on trade liberalization and economic integration, bringing a lot of growth in trade and an amazing emergence of a new middle class, the distribution of gains remain uneven, and the benefits of economic growth not felt by all levels of society. We therefore felt really excited that inclusive growth, to broaden those participating in global trade, could really have a meaningful impact to the APEC agenda. This year, we therefore placed SMEs at the core center of the work we're doing. The APEC actually works on several areas. One is to promote regional economic integration, connectivity, finance, and sustainability. And we normally have a working group that deals with SMEs. But we felt this year we would just do a little subtle change, which is instead of making SMEs another working group, that we would actually have that working group view everything we do and expand it so that it became equally relevant to SMEs. So we identified 3 areas that we would focus our recommendations around. The first was to bring more SMEs into global trade through e-commerce. And we commissioned a study by the USC Marshall School to study what are the impediments and barriers that hold SMEs from entering into e-commerce. We felt that for once in history, the idea of bringing more SMEs into global trade and inclusive growth models was really possible because of technology. The second one, the second part of that we feel is extremely important is to recommend to leaders that each economy must develop a robust innovation agenda, an ecosystem that would allow generations in the future to benefit from digital age. We felt that this innovation agenda for respective economies and also across borders is extremely important because it involves education at the lower elementary school level all the way up to college, so that this ecosystem for the future would really benefit the child that is not yet even born today. The third was to bring more SMEs into global value chains with long-term value-based partnerships, i.e. inclusive business. We were so excited to be invited to this event, and we were so excited to learn about the work that the IFC, the World Bank, IFC, and the ADB have been working on to bring about this inclusive business as top of mind, not just of governments, but of private business. We feel that as a chairman, as an APEC member for several years now, I was particularly excited because I thought, my goodness, if business could actually adopt inclusive business models, we wouldn't have to wait for all these policy changes that we make recommendations for, and perhaps actually create an impact immediately with just changing a little bit of how we do business. So thus, we commissioned a study also by the Asian Institute of Management entitled Small Business as Part of Big Business Global Value Chains. The project documents cases featuring bigger business, creating smaller business partnerships whereby the bigger business companies reach out to pull smaller companies up into their supply chain, facilitating transfer of skills, knowledge, and technology, and building shared values in a seamless value chain. It is for this reason that we really applaud the World Bank, IFC, and ADB for this fantastic initiative to bring about this conference and to put the attention to such an important, different idea. I looked at the Wikipedia definition of inclusive business as we were preparing for this meeting, and there is, I think that one of the big problems, of course, that I think most businesses fail to, that all of us get confused by, is how you separate CSR from inclusive business and even from social enterprise. It says, I think most of the efforts that are being done as part of the development of our economies is how to help the poor. And we see that even in some of the definitions that I saw around the ADB's definition of inclusive business, there is a criteria used around impact and around the poor. What I feel, though, and I wanted to share this with you, is that I have learned after all these years is that there is always somebody bigger and somebody smaller than oneself. So I feel that inclusive business, if I may try to suggest, that inclusive business is actually a mindset of a larger company reaching out to a smaller one to build up, to build their ability to share their values, to share their knowledge, and to bring them up into their own global value chain as a real partner in their ecosystem of suppliers. I say this because I think it is really important that we leave this room putting space for that mindset to be as valuable as the definition of only a business helping the poor. And I think that is a very important and laudable effort. And I also feel that the idea that it has to have a huge impact and cover many people could perhaps be something that is set as maybe the criteria for lending, for loans and lending, but it really is a mindset that could even be applied to a small company helping somebody smaller. And I think that's the part that makes me extremely excited about maybe having I have a goal in my mind to change the Wikipedia definition to be really a mindset rather than actually a structural definition of what it is. In 2004, the UNDP Commission on Private Sector and Development published a report entitled Unleashing Entrepreneurship, Making Business Work for the Poor. The report showed that small businesses also have much to teach us about helping themselves. And these small enterprises create most of the jobs and wealth that can potentially accelerate human development that we're all seeking to achieve. The Global Alliance Business Call to Action also asserted that many small and medium enterprises can and do create business models that intention explicitly include the poor. So if all sizes of business, even the poor, helping somebody even smaller than themselves, can also feel that they apply this whole business, inclusive business mindset, I think this creates maybe a new age, a new way of thinking, which I like to call enlightened self-interest, and something that could actually create a sustainable way that we can systemically change the way business is done. As documented in the study of the AIM, not all forms of cooperation and linkages require a large corporate partner to successfully execute an inclusive model. In some cases, MSMEs work with each other as well, such as the story of a specialty clothing brand called Philip, and then there's a plus INA, I-N-N-A. Filipina reached out to different indigenous groups all over the Philippines to supply woven and embroidered materials for their products. Both the company and the tribal artisans that it partnered with started small, yet through this partnership both gained entry into international markets. Filipina is an SME, also helping smaller, poor indigenous groups to improve their livelihood and capitalizing on skills unique to these groups. These initiatives, particularly within the small and medium enterprise sector, have such enormous potential, though they are largely restricted by weak business ecosystems, which with the help of the public sector should be addressed. And of course, in our innovation recommendation, one of the key elements of that innovation ecosystem is having very robust broadband systems, which would then give all these people access to markets. I was asked by a friend of mine who was getting married in Greece if I could order some fans. And I had to go to the market, and I found that it was 80 pesos per fan, and found out where it came from and saw that that maker actually only made 10 pesos for each fan. So imagine the impact that a broadband access and e-commerce access would have given them. In my own company, I'm trying to apply some of these inclusive business models. One way is in our shipping and logistics sector to actually farm out contracts to truck drivers, to entrepreneurial truck drivers, and we give them a contract and have them be able to supply us with services. It has been fantastic because of that contract. They're actually able to finance themselves, and every year we give them the best. We give the best one another contract. Now that to me it is not charity, it is not CSR. This is creating such an important lifeline to the logistics services we offer, having loyal truck drivers helping us grow and helping us provide our own customers with excellent services. We also have a lot of training activities within our businesses for our shipping side, training seafarers as part of our inclusive business model. And I think one is education and training being a very important aspect of an inclusive business model for the growth of our business. The private sector can definitely not stand alone. None of us in business can stand alone, taking every aspect of the supply chain. We must work with governments to build a foundation for enabling environments where solutions for inclusive business can emerge. The Board of Investment's idea to accredit inclusive business models is a great place to start. Branding IB models can be helpful for business and government. And hopefully, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't put sort of a restriction on size or impact. Branding, it creates new openness for innovative financing beyond traditional risk assessments, licensing through local governments, innovation, and competition. But the definition of an inclusive business model, as I mentioned, must include all sizes, all types of companies from different sectors that can actually apply this mindset to those around them. We urge governments to go beyond your pilots in agribusiness, tourism, and housing. We hope we can see more inclusive business models in education, health, urban services, energy, and other sectors also included. In the Philippines today, we have one of the big challenges we have is in disasters and disaster response. Instead of seeing that as a problem, we could actually look upon that as opportunities for relationships between bigger businesses and smaller businesses to provide those services. We hope that APEC can continue this very important work in their 2016-2017 development agenda. And we hope that we can leave this room with an expanded common vision on how inclusive growth will be realized, and a vision that can be achieved to bring everybody together towards uplifting the lives of everybody around us through this enlightened self-interest model. I wish all of you all a very productive discussion. Again, I'd like to congratulate the IFC for such an amazing initiative to bring about greater prosperity for everyone. Thank you.